Johnson met the investigators' 7-day deadline to answer the questions, the Prime Minister's office said on Friday evening. Johnson faces a fine if he does not have a valid reason for attending lockdown parties. Above all, the Prime Minister has come under immense political pressure from the scandal surrounding celebrations with plenty of alcohol in his official residence during the corona lockdown. Several MPs from his Tory party have also publicly called for the head of government to resign in recent weeks. Johnson apologized in Parliament for the lockdown parties, but it will be interesting how this story continues. In view of the escalating crisis on the Russian-Ukrainian border, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wanted to travel to Munich for the security conference. This was announced by the seat of government Downing Street on Friday. Secretary of State Liz Truss and Secretary of Defense Ben Wallace had also announced their attendance. Johnson was expected to arrive in Munich on Saturday. The heads of state and government of the USA, Germany, Great Britain, France, Italy, Poland and Romania, as well as representatives of the EU and NATO, wanted to discuss the crisis in a telephone call on Friday. According to a report in The Times, the British government expects a Russian attack on Ukraine to be imminent. According to The Times report on Friday, Russian President Vladimir Putin made the decision to do so in the last 24 hours. He will do it and it will be terrible, the paper quoted an unnamed government official as saying. According to Germany, Western democracies consider the danger of a Russian attack on Ukraine to be very real. After the consultation with US President Joe Biden, Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the other heads of state and government, the German government spokesman Steffen Hebestreit announced on Friday that it was agreed that Russia had to give a signal of de-escalation. The central task now is to keep the window open for diplomacy. The latest Russian response to the US government should also be evaluated in this sense. The implementation of the Minsk Agreement for eastern Ukraine must be continued in the Normandy format by Germany, France, Ukraine and Russia. Western governments have once again expressed their continued solidarity and support to Ukraine, Hebestreit said. At the same time, they reaffirmed their readiness to take very far-reaching measures against Russia in the event of further Russian aggression against Ukraine. In addition to Scholz and Biden, French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the presidents of Poland and Romania, the Canadian Prime Minister, and the leaders of EU and NATO took part. Prince Harry wants to seek police protection for his family on visits to the UK in court. The British Home Office had previously rejected his proposal to pay for police protection himself in such cases. It is currently not possible for Prince Harry and his family to visit his homeland because it's too dangerous, his lawyer said at a court hearing in London on Friday. Harry is challenging the cancellation in court. Parts of the hearing took place behind closed doors. The prince argues that his privately employed security personnel in the USA cannot work in the same way in Great Britain and also have no access to the necessary Secret Service information. Obviously, he is keen to come visit his family and friends and support the organizations he cares about, Harry's attorney said at the hearing. And they said, besides, this is his home and always will be. A decision was not expected on Friday. A Home Office lawyer said Harry's offer was irrelevant because police protection was not for sale, and it was up to the relevant units to decide who would be protected and when. Since the departure of Prince Harry and his wife Meghan from the British royal family, the Queen's grandson has only returned to Great Britain twice. Once for the funeral service for his grandfather Prince Philip, once for the unveiling of a statue of his mother Princess Diana. According to the PA news agency, he was said to have been followed by paparazzi during one of his visits. However, on both trips, Meghan and son Archie stayed in the family's new home in California. Harry and Meghan's daughter Lilibet, who was born last June, has yet to meet most of her royal relatives in the UK. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has urged Western allies in the Ukraine conflict to present themselves as a united front to Russia. There is still a chance to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, Johnson said on Friday before his trip to the security conference in Munich. But that will require an overwhelming display of Western solidarity surpassing anything we have seen in recent history, he said. The Conservative politician, who led his country as one of the leaders of the Brexit campaign from the EU, usually likes to distance himself from Europe. His government only likes to emphasize the special relationship with the USA. In the face of an imminent war, however, Johnson now emphasized, the Allies must speak with one voice to make President Putin understand the high price he would have to pay for a Russian invasion of Ukraine. He's bringing this message with him to Munich, where he wants to speak to several colleagues and intensify diplomatic efforts again. On the second day of the Munich Security Conference yesterday, speeches by Chancellor Olaf Scholz and US Vice President Kamala Harris were expected alongside Johnson. The manufacturer of charging stations and software Juice Technology AG is founding a subsidiary based in London. According to a press release, the market entry is the logical continuation of Juice's expansion strategy. To start with, the company intends to employ a 4-person sales team at its headquarters in London and Paddington. In 2021, the number of public charging stations in the UK will have increased by a third, according to Juice. In the UK, there are now 28,000 public charging points for electric vehicles, including 5,100 for DC charging, according to the statement. Including the charging infrastructure installed in private households and companies, the country has a total of almost 250,000 charging points. The UK government plans to create 145,000 additional charging points per year and to equip every new or newly renovated building with charging points from this year. Irrespective of this, it will still take some time to set up a nationwide charging infrastructure. From Juice's point of view, portable wall boxes close gaps in the charging network by enabling charging exactly where the car is parked for a certain time anyway. Millions of people in the British capital, southern England and Wales, were asked to stay at home on Friday due to stormy weather. As the British Weather Service Met Office announced, there was a risk of death due to flying debris at storm speeds of up to 130 km per hour. Covered roofs, uprooted trees and disturbances in train and ship traffic were to be expected. People on the coast have been warned of large waves and flooding. Great Britain prepared on Friday for Storm Eunice, which was baptized Zeneb in Germany, by the way. According to the BBC, it was supposed to be one of the strongest storms to hit the country in decades. In Ireland, strong winds had already caused power outages in around 55,000 households. London's Heathrow and City airports prepared passengers for delays and flight cancellations. London Mayor Sadiq Khan warned people not to leave their homes and apartments. I call on all Londoners to stay home, take no chances and do not travel unless absolutely necessary, Khan wrote on Twitter. Several ferry services between Dover and Calais have been cancelled. Several national rail operators also advised against travel. In Wales, train services were completely suspended on Friday. Heir to the throne Prince Charles had cancelled a visit to Wales because of the warnings. Storm Dudley, which is called Ilenia in Germany, had already led to serious disruptions in train traffic in Scotland and the north of England on Thursday night. Thousands of homes across the north of England have been left without electricity. We have been hit hard by that storm as well, but very fortunately we didn't have any trouble with electricity here. Something besides politics. Hollywood star Tom Holland worked incognito in a London bar for a while to prepare for his role in the film Uncharted. I'm bringing this because I'm quite curious about the film. I went there and put on the bartender clothes and went undercover there. It was fun, said the Brit to the US radio station Sirius XM. Before taking shifts at the bar, he took a bartender course, Holland said. When word got around in town and people started to see through that apparently Tom Holland was making the drinks in this bar, the manager found out too, he said. And then I ended up getting more or less fired. In the theatrical adaptation of the PlayStation game Uncharted, the Spider-Man star plays Nathan Drake, who earns his living as a bartender. Together with his mentor Victor Sullivan, played by Mark Wahlberg, he embarks on an adventurous journey around the world to find a lost pot of gold. The film by director Ruben Fleischer has been in German cinemas, for example, since Thursday, but I haven't managed to go there yet. But I will see that movie, I'm sure. Members of a Trans-Pacific Trade Pact have agreed that Britain can proceed with its bid to join the group, Japan said on Friday, as it looks for new trading relationships after leaving the European Union. Under the terms of the pact, known as the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, members Japan, Canada, Australia, Vietnam, New Zealand, Singapore, Mexico, Peru, Brunei, Chile and Malaysia remove 95% of tariffs between them. Japan, which heads the Pact's accession working group, said members had agreed that Britain could proceed to the next phase of negotiations for joining, Japan's cabinet secretariat said in a statement. Britain will be expected to submit its market access offers, such as on tariffs, to members within the next 30 days, it said. And there's something else important, they said. The CPTPP members remain committed to upholding the high standard rules and market access throughout the accession process, the Secretariat said. Next steps are being coordinated among CPTPP members and with the United Kingdom. Britain began negotiations in June last year to join the pact, which it sees as key to its post-Brexit pivot away from Europe and towards geographically more distant but faster-growing economies. But the important point is this is not the last step, and there are rules, and we will see if the UK really want to stick to them after getting sovereignty back. Britain said on Friday that Russia's GRU military intelligence agency was almost certainly involved in cyber-attacks on Ukrainian banks this week. The decision to publicly attribute this incident underlines the fact that the UK and its allies will not tolerate malicious cyber activity, the British Foreign Ministry said. Britain's Foreign Ministry said on Friday the country's embassy in Ukraine was moving away from the capital Kyiv, and it told British nationals to leave the country while commercial means of travel were still available. The embassy office in Kyiv was relocating temporarily, and staff were operating from an embassy office in the city of Lviv, the ministry said. Any Russian military action in Ukraine would severely affect the British government's ability to provide consular assistance in Ukraine, the ministry said. And British nationals should not expect increased consular support or help with evacuating in these circumstances. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.